Trade. At least it's not another flawless. We're not getting the 3
Ow!
of it so flawless.
Stream पे आओ!
That's a bit of a silver lining. Bench is somewhat chronicle down. Still the salvos coming into play. Crash is going to be the most irritating Teo to play against.
गाली कोई ना देगा
Who's found some space. Unexpected, not known, but Alfia quick on the trade.
काम चोर तो
He'll find both. It looked close for a second or two,
काम चोर हो ना एक
but with the form that Alfia is in,
कहाँ रहने ये?
it's not looking like close for long.
No, and as well, like I said, Crashy's getting his claws out in some of these previous rounds. Momentum well and truly in Fnatic's favor now, 6-3 after a 3-1 start. It's feeling like deja vu going back to Fracture. Rien stepping back just a little too far. The snake bite forcing him to be a little more cautious, but mistake made and quick reactions by Boaster to trade out Kayak after that opening pick. Indeed, the second pause coming into round 10. Heretics are fully panicking. They're in spiral mode.
Boo currently
points
0.
match?
The product of
Match को देखता पागल!
like having to try and call, micromanage, pick up different things.
कहाँ लगा उस बराबर दिख रहा?
You show Fnatic a trophy.
अरे स्ट्रीम ऑन कर रहे
Maybe one that
शूटिया में इसमें देखो बोल क्या देखूं?
they decide that it's worth fighting for. Because right now they are tearing them apart. You mentioned Crashies. I feel like the toughest part of playing against him is that he's doing damage when you can't see him. Like, I think we've talked many a time about who the best Teo is, and I think like you could put players like Sociable in that list in terms of just how many numbers he's going to put up individually. But I think if you're talking pure utility, like who's the most annoying to play against, and I think it has to be Crashes at #1, because every time you try and plant, he always seems to have his salvos at the exact right moment. The cycling of that utility from him is just sublime. And then if you deal with everything else that's going on, you've got Kayak and Alfia who are just popping heads.
Yeah. Oh, Benji's got the longest name in VCTM. Yeah, I think Serial's old name would have beaten that, but we'll leave that there. 6-3 for the Fnatic side. It's been wonderful to see them on this kind of form. Playoffs form indeed. Upper bracket final right now, and the grand final seemingly locked in. Big changes needed, but Heretics call a pause to seek out those answers. Another opening duel for Fnatic. This time, punished quickly and cleanly.
That's the most important thing. Just making sure that he's not going to get away with too much. Clearly feeling like those light shields are in play for Heretics. Kayak has got the right read with that Outlaw in hand. And just look how much space they've got already. Now this time at least Benji is alive. So the turret should give them that contact. They've already spotted it. With how much space they've already managed to get, you can see the Fnatic players are just waiting. They don't want to give the game away just yet.
Gonna let them fully commit their hand so they can't turn back. Here goes the ult, and now the flank from Fnatic shows its full hand. One player goes back to deal with him, but there's actually 2 players on the flank, and they find out the hard way. Benji at least able to pick off Chronicle. The players now awaiting on site. I say players, it's just one. It's Boo, isolated. But he has managed to fly under the radar. A free pick on Boaster and Alpha. Here's the round they needed. Even the lockdown committed and denied. Kayak, you've been sublime so far, but a little more needed. There's the pick and the rest, and that brings them right back into the round.
And you finally manage to deal with Alfia, and someone brings him back to life.
Fnatic bro, Fnatic scout ki team hai.
The round's so much more important than anything else. Alfia are actually looking to try and play ahead of it, and he'll be dealt with by Rience. And while there's not a lot of time left, it won't matter. It takes a second pause, but there is a response. A solid individual round from Boo as well. I think that's now him onto the scoreboard for the first time in this matchup, but it wins them around.
Yeah, it was a surprise play. It was him sneaking his way through. Fitting that while he's busy leading the team and forgetting about his own individual performance, it is the cerebral play that gets him on that board. I was worried there at the end. My heart skipped a beat. Seeing Kayak, 2 shots loaded into the Outlaw. 2 opponents, low HP, below that 140, and they both swing him. He had a chance, and he fired at them both. Neither shot landed. Heretics get themselves around as a result. Alpha avoided a mesh of bullets sent his way. Heretics finally back on the board, and it's not too late to finish this half on equal footing.
Hello?
No, we've seen them versus
I'm under the water.
Vitality and Apex have incredibly clean defensive, 6-1 after getting enough rounds on that attack. So
first of all,
let's not pretend like this is over just because.
Shana good, congratulations for the stands.
Fairly firmly in Fnatic's favor.
A
lot of it's come down to delay.
Auto stand dala.
The amount that can be slowed off nano swarms, snake bites, salvos. But they are a little bit earlier than what we've seen in a lot of other rounds.
They're very ready for it though. Look, there's 4 players already on this site.
Ah!
They are trained in on that position now. As 2 fall, they think it'll be a little bit more free, a little bit more open, but Heretics, well, they couldn't be more wrong. Left with just 1, he's on the ropes, quite literally, as Fnatic put to bed the 11th round, 7-4. A lead at the half, now guaranteed. The question is, how big will the lead be?
Honestly, their B-side defense is fantastic. Like, I'm genuinely enjoying seeing, because every time they're walking into this utility setup, but the goals change for Heretics each time. It's like, okay, this time we're going to try and get aggressive. We're going to try and play around it. And Bosa just puts a snake bite right in their path, so anybody that clips it gets stuck. Then behind that, you see the Mosh go in, so that they can't stand in that ground anymore, forced into a new position, then salvos come in as well. So it's just like, it's constantly having to shift and move everywhere you're going, and while you're doing that, Alfie is peeking you. So it's like, there's not really much more you can do.
Now, there's a reason you're seeing everybody here. You've got a Viper's Pit alongside a Hunter's Fury to work with. The Pit is the main thing.
But
look at the space they got in the previous round. Look how close they got to the site as Fnatic didn't look for those early fights. Instead, waiting for the wall to fall and taking the battles after. That means to Heretics, they can get in there. They can get that Pit in play and lock down that control, leaving their utility passively to cover their back from Killjoy. This could be a very dangerous round. And a couple of spams, the only thing really standing in Heretics' way. And the fact that they are taking a long time. I thought by now we'd already see them in there, but they're waiting outside of B. I don't know if this is going to work the way they hope it will, as Fnatic still have 4 players close by.
I think also having the drone, also having man as well, that's important. A quick pick, but still all of that delay utility is in place. 30 seconds. Now the Mosh comes through as well, that they're having to just wait out so much different pieces of utility that a Risk could do it all. Hunter's Fury thrown in to try and find some damage as the wingman goes for the plant. I don't know if it's going to fail. No, it's not. It's failed. And now they're stuck again. They have to go pushing. They have to go moving. Minibu lands a second shot, though. He might just be keeping them in the round, but there's the swing. Spike dropped once again. With 7 seconds left, Chronicle, all he has to do is try and drop it one more time, but he will die. So it doesn't matter in the end. Your heart might skip a beat, but Heretics do get the job done.
Well, they put the Pit in eventually, Tom. Jeez, they waited a while. How many fights was Fnatic given? Luckily, in the end, it falls into their favor, 7-5 at the halftime. Heretics have clawed their way back up to a close scoreline. The second half will see their defense. Somewhere we know that they're strong, but if they fail and falter here, that's the lower bracket run started. Fnatic 1 away. We'll find out how it goes after the break.
Something is fishy, guys.
Cover me, cover me, cover me.
It's not defeat that defines you. It's how you bounce back. Reach your impossible. Lenovo.
Amma ki hut. गांडू. साला कॉपीराइट आता है गांडू गाने की वजह से भूलेगा भाई. अब मजा आता. चलो अब वॉच पार्टी स्ट्रीमर आ गया. अब पूरा पावर है वॉच पार्टी स्ट्रीमर के अंदर.
Welcome back, folks. 7-5. Fnatic leading the charge and looking good on pistol rounds in this series. Heretics, well, they better hope they can connect another one here, as that early start on this map is really all that makes this a close affair. It was 3-1 in their favor, but Fnatic made a streak of rounds, bringing us up to this 7-5 halftime. But for Heretics, Tom, you alluded to earlier, or well, not really alluded, you said it's straight, and as it is, Heretics pretty good on the defense.
Yeah, at least in their victories versus Vitality and Apex, they were very good on that defensive side. And I think the difference though today is that I think Fnatic have done really well to sort of disorientate them, and well, just look at the immediate rundown. Heretics not feeling the burn just yet, as they will run it straight into their opponents. There's a lot of counter utility being put into play though. Still opportunities to try and fight this back, although has somehow managed to complete the stun. He won't dodge the bullets, and what was a great start quickly diminishes into a Fnatic advantage.
I think we're going to see Chronicle having some stern words with Wingman after how it's gone for him in the pistol rounds. I don't know what's going on.
You stun me through a floor, and then you don't get him when he stood there.
You look him in the eyes and you say, I know you. I'll let you away with this one. You're my buddy. Well, a 3 versus 2. A good recovery by Fnatic, and they managed to find Benji coming up behind them. Not deal with him completely. Make him a bit modest with 70 HP remaining. He'll back off. The world is Fnatic's oyster. For Team Heretics, they've got a gamble where they think the hit's coming in.
Patient stuff.
इसका नाम बोल रहे
Wanting to overface, not wanting to gamble. Still having the
ठीक है इसका नाम बोल
orb available as well.
Bastard.
Now making their way towards
noob इसका नाम बोल
completely open. Nobody even remotely close. Eventually the realization has to come through for the
Alpha Zahir.
They are on the wrong side of the map, and you mentioned it, how critical
Alpha Zahir है उन्हें
will have been.
ये बोल
And now we look at Mini Boo and Benji and see what they can do with it.
क्या है
When it comes to pistols, Heretics have usually been pretty good.
बच गया
But here, Fnatic definitely upping the challenge a little bit. This 3v2. Everyone tagged on that attacking side, but they've got the numbers. The unknown factor, the positions having to be cleared, swinging out from those corners. Fnatic with a 3rd pistol in this series, and I say Heretics have been pretty good. They're number 2 in the region, right behind BBL. We talked a lot about how strong their performances have been. So for Fnatic to step up to the plate here, it is a big deal.
Didn't their pistol stats take a pretty big hit recently though? Were they? They lost a lot of them.
Still number 1.
It says a lot about how good they've been in those sort of scenarios. We'll see if that continues later today. There's the qualification match still coming up. This one,
good job.
it's all about getting in towards that grand final. A chance at the trophy. Damn, nice shot from Mini Boo, but again, the first kill might go the way of Heretics, but the second and the third. Action. Boo has picked up the mantle of his brother, trying to do that a little bit more. Some nice shots, but the round still looks favored. The man against them, though, maybe the last man you'd want to come up against here.
दोनों साथ में आ रहे
He's up close. He's
मार दिया रे
He's taking Crashies down, runs for the hill, and makes it round the corner. Plant will come through.
निकालता क्या ना
A real chance now.
उन्हें निकालता
Only the one swarm grenade in play. And Rienz, I like the idea. The big wrap around he's going for, hoping to catch his opponent off guard.
Classic.
He may well catch him off guard. Look at where Alpha's going. He's so focused on this path, on even it being a side push, but now he's spotted him. What a shot!
Whoa!
Connects 2 to the dome of Alpha Year.
देख
And while the pistol round may not have fallen into their favor,
25 साल से
the
streaming कर रहा हूँ
pistol of Rienz
25 साल
brings this round back into Heretics' pocket. Unbelievable.
All I'm going to say, well, the Red Bull Clutch.
पिछले जन्म में भी स्ट्रीमर था मैं biggest streamer of India.
That's got to be the easiest.
इन्हें निकाला इन्हें नहीं रे उन्हें निकाला वाइपर
When your players are doing stuff like that with it, that's just utterly ridiculous. And I said it in the moment, there is no one else you want in those clutch scenarios with how solid.
अरे निकल के मारना था उसको नहीं मारा कहीं को कहीं की.
It's just ridiculous.
And that's the right click. That's the right click.
about the left click?
That was a left.
Well, the first.
That's the right click बोल रहा.
Yeah, the up close battle. I don't think he right clicking
conical
Alpha
क्या
from there
मारा
now.
इन लोगों पर भाई है
Go
तब
through
भी.
2 rifles in play. Those players playing the pistols have a chance to buy back up here. And they'll put their money on the line early on, not wanting to see that lead dissipate, not wanting to see Heretics 1 round away from them. They'll still have money for the next. Don't worry about that. It's not the biggest risk ever, but it gives them a huge opportunity. The opening pick already there is Kayak with another Alpha, returning with the classic onto Woot, and all of a sudden, this round that had
भाई जज्बात इधर से वो कर फेंक रहे उधर से वो फेंक रहे बुल्ले लिया फ्लैश आता अब रुक फ्लैश आता अब
There's only 2 rifles for Heretics, only 2 players left standing.
Benji's held the line at least for a little bit. He's managed to find a gap in the trade. Was never going to come through from that position.
निकला तो नंगा नाचुर स्ट्रीम पे 1v3 निकाला
A gap to run through, but almost seeming like suicide if he was to try and get through that gap, knowing there's going to be somebody either to the left, to the right, or up above. And
I'm ready.
at the moment,
I'm ready.
Seems like the majority of them, the walls at least giving him
I'm
a gap
ready.
to try and find around, but he's hoping for a fight. And just look at where Fnatic sit. They are all back passive, waiting patiently for a single tap to come through. And guess what? Those salvos are online once again. Crashies always so irritating in these scenarios that time is ever ticking, ever falling. And for Boo, I feel like this stage has to be the retreat. And I think even the Fnatic players starting to realize that look where Crashies has got to. He's just trying to stop him getting out of there. Wants to remove that gun, and that's exactly what he'll do. The knife in the back, the thorn in the side. Fnatic. I've got 9 on that attack.
क्या कर रहा था उन्हें?
Taking a small advantage of that earlier economic decision, bringing in 2 rifles, finding the opening pick, arming to the teeth. Alpha here, the man, top frag, tied up with Crashies, even finds one with a classic. Here it is.
Maybe it's just a Turkish thing. Then again, I say that, but Chronicle was always very good with it.
Oh yeah, listen. You see,
next round prediction. भाई ये दोनों का.
And they did. It was Smooth going in to try to fight Kayak. Oh.
That's one of your
lineups,
right?
Oh, shut up, Tom. All right, listen.
ना फीस तो वो तो जीते थे.
It happened 1 time in ranked.
Oh no, sorry. It's one of Scott's.
अबे लोड़े लास्ट
Come
वो
up
वाला
for the
जीते थे
Irish,
ना ये
Tom. I
लोग.
don't like it.
पिस्तौल के बाद वाला.
Never co-sign
बाई
that.
राउंड.
In fact, I reckon he's already writing that down in his notebook.
अरे चूतिए बाई करे ठीक है रे फिर भी पैसे रहना चाहिए ना कैसा भी.
High 5 after this game.
Yeah, it's going to be Scope with Boaster and Chronicle with Wingman. Big talks to be had. 9-6, double digits now, looking probable for Fnatic.
69.
You got to say, Tom, great course correction after that. Little bit of a bump in the road in this half.
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say it was a big bump in the road, but then I guess somehow they've used it as a ramp. Doesn't make a lot of sense. He's been struggling this game, and just look at the amount of utility that's being put in. They knew exactly where he would land. And yeah, the hero gun has ended up as the 0 gun. Nothing found. A lockdown to force any players off this site. You had the players in the
round.
Unfortunately, you gotta run.
And that was a 3 players tucked in, ready for the fight. A real chance for Heretics with a lockdown wisely put into play by Alpha Yer here, leaving Fnatic with double digits almost assuredly. The question was, would it be flawless? An in zone. We'll be sad to see it isn't. Boo is the last one standing. Picked off Chronicle. Still though, Flash online for the next round. Double digits secured, and Team Heretics on that familiar scoreline of 6. Was around now. Fnatic just ran away with it. Going back to Fracture, may see the same again. 4 players alive. Big economy round as well for that attacking side.
10-6. A completely different story. We did not need a replay of him throwing that into the barrier.
That is cruel.
I've already been mean enough beforehand. Don't need to double down on it. Shout out Scott again for the lineup.
Alright, listen, Tom. Got thin ice now, man. Got thin ice.
They're winning rounds, that's fine.
Back नहीं होता Twitch पे. Twitch पे नहीं होता मेरे भाई ये ले.
Building up the Heretics, but starting to question if it's too little too late.
Oh!
Armageddon for Crashies. There's too many set plays around this. Why? He tries to run away. Oh, it's damage. They even have Selma that goes behind. Rians is just trying to dodge every single piece of utility memes already being made on Twitter to prove like Valorant.
Next match comes on Lotus.
How difficult it can be to play. He does survive though, but well, his teammate has not. In fact, Rians didn't even last long.
And now Wu's looking the wrong way again. It was Kayak to distract him last time. This time, he's the one surprising him. And either way, this has got to be a save. Look, they're already backing off. They're already giving up that control towards the B site. Boo and Benji look to hang on to these weapons, and how quickly that round fell apart. And Tom, you're exactly right as well. It's not just the fact that you have this ult coming through, but behind it, you've then got a nano swarm and the salvos to block them in. I mean, those players were under so much pressure. And
they still got one gap.
The tiny gap. And immediately on the way back in, Fnatic, they're fighting players trying to regain a spot to fight from, trying to regain control, and they go right in to the flood of Fnatic. The flood of that attack side wipes them clean from the board. Looks like they'll save their weapons at least, but it's a small solace.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about Fnatic with these sort of setups is that they are aware of the space. Like, they know exactly, they go, oh, we've done this amazing execution, and if they don't get a kill from it, they're not going, oh, I guess there was just no one there. They're going, okay, there was a gap here and here, so we're going to now execute into those positions and make it more players who have managed to survive our util. Like, it's just such intelligent play, and we talk about Heretics and these explosive compositions, the individual brilliance of players like Miniboo, Wu, and they have been really struggling throughout this match. Not been able to find that same value we've seen all season. Like, you talk about Miniboo being the highest ACS player. But he hasn't been in this game. Boo, though, will at least start things off with an opening pick. And that's Kayak gone. So the rest won't be used. Unfortunately, you can't bring yourself back.
That is 2 rifles, though, for Team Heretics. Boo has one, Benji has the other. The rest are sitting down with pistols. Space taken but spotted. And on the way back, dead to rights. Good opportunity to recover a weapon. Boaster tries to be the thorn in the side, but they've abandoned that control. Heretics with a 3 versus 5 in their favor. 3 weapons as well to work with. This is all that they need. And I like this. Immediately you see Miniboo back off from that fight. He doesn't need to risk it. Just spotting for the info.
There's no gap to be had. You've also got the deep alarm bot, so even though it might look like B is open for business, that will give enough information. That's why Benji hasn't gone any further forward, wanting to make sure he stays within range. This might bruise them a little bit though, because that push-up will come in. They'll destroy the util, and immediately, look at the rotation. Look how many people have just started running the other way. The problem is how much time can be bought. Wu needs to just try and get one here, and he doesn't, but there's a hunter on the other side, and that will do the job. That will clear everything out, and Boaster's late flank, well, it's too late.
Oh, he almost gets taken down there by the Sheriff. Rian's going back for more. He'll be dropped. Another point towards that Viper's pit, but another round for Team Heretics, pushing past that barrier of 6, somewhere they were kept on when it came to Fracture.
Wow.
What the fuck, bro?
And a gap of 4 rounds now. This game is far from over if Heretics can keep this form up. That was a round that they had very little to work with. And yes, the Hunter's Fury was used, but that was really just the icing on the cake. The seasoning, the main dish though, was that opening pick by Boo, was that fight inside of Tube and the rifle recovered, and then passive play, allowing that clock to run down.
Potentially. Bit of a pace change. Orb is the main target. Trying to continually build up the ultimates for the side of Fnatic. When you have that Thrash in play, there's a lot of space that can be taken. Because though, you look over on the A side, it's just a solo defender in the form of Rians. The gamble has been made that they'll be able to get in, and a lot of that will come down to having this lockdown available for Benji Fishy. They are confident in the retake, so the only goal really for Rians is, okay, spot, see if you can find information. If you get a kill on the way, fantastic. It seems like the rotation from the defensive side is coming a little bit earlier. They have made that realization.
Monster on the loop.
They're playing that bit more passive. Thrash is on its way. It's caught one, but Minibu's down below.
Oh, timing re.
Gets caught in mid as well. Really nicely played by Heretics, covering all their bases, defending the man that got caught by the Thrash. And now 3 players on site ready for the battle. Fnatic walking right in to the fray. I like Kayak's spot, but no one's giving him an angle. Oh, here we go. He's up and above. He's caught them in the ult. The trade comes in quick with Minibu shutting that down. Alpha all alone. He's been sensational so far. Gets the opportunity for one, but with 12 seconds left, that plant has to be stuck at this time, and the flank indeed should secure this round as he runs for that safe spot. It wasn't so safe with Boo around.
You can forgive him for making the prediction that, okay, if they put that lockdown, both players are going to come from the same angle at the end and not have separate 1v1 duels. But it was a long flank that came through from Boo, but a much better round from them overall. They had a solid read on everything that was going on. Benji, this timing was everything, because that was almost dead to right as he attempted to rotate in and ends up being a pivotal factor. Although he ends up being caught, quick reactions from those players is enough. Fnatic, after losing a couple in a row, have made the decision now that, okay, well, we need to try and slow this down. We do not want to allow Heretics to firstly get back into the game, but secondly build that momentum, start seeing those superstars that we have done all the way through the season.
जो रहते टोरंटो के Sentinels, PRX,
time to get back on the horse. Fnatic 2 in a row. Doesn't seem like much, but we know what Heretics can do when given this kind of space. Now we're seeing them make those reads. The early aggression with the 2 rifles works out. The rotations that came into play there, perfect as they were ahead of the play. And you can see the coaching staff of Fnatic with a lot to say. That's a lot of holes to plug. But when it comes to these 2 boys, it's dangerous when they're given this much time to think. See what Fnatic is an adjustment. The res online, not much else for them, but they're competing against the ult from Minibu. That despite him having a quieter performance here on Icebox, this ult has done a lot for him before. Boo as well, having that Viper's Pit. It's been a slow half, but if he's playing inside his pit, it's going to be difficult to root him out of there, even in the worst of times.
There you go, in terms of win rate in the retakes.
Wow.
That's where you see the best of this Heretic squad. As I said, with the rounds they've played on the defense, a lot of the time it's been utter dominance. We've already started to witness them build back into this map a little bit. Still a long way to go. 2 rounds needed for Fnatic to close this series. 3 rounds just to level it up.
Locating targets.
For the attack. Bit of a slower pace. They were kind of steamrolling Heretics in a lot of these early rounds. So now that there's a little bit of resistance, back to the drawing board.
Heretics are going for something different as well. The stuns go up on B. Gecko flash as well as they look to take that deep control. They see nobody and now sense it's an A play. The wall comes in from Fnatic, the utility being heard, but they're a little slow to get that plant down, and that's a problem. Heretics have now rotated thanks to that early B play. They've got 4 players in position. Ready to take that space. Ult pop, believed by Minibu. Viper's Pit from the attack, though. That's going to be tough to fight back through with Alpha instantly rezzed.
They were hoping to try and kill him off again. Alpha are actually now 1 away from the lockdown. He gets a pick, and that kill on Tim might actually end up helping out. Chronicle as well, just holding the line already. They're trying to get it. Actually, I think that Nano Swarm has missed it. But it doesn't matter. The spams have done the work anyway. And now all that remains is Boo! He's landed a multitude of kills, looking for a little bit more, but it was too much to ask. A 1v5 would have been absurd. Unfortunately, for them at least, it's not to be. And this places Fnatic right onto map. A series point, more importantly, a spot in the grand final.
अब तेरा टाइम नहीं है तू घूम के भी नहीं आ सकता खुद था गलती से इधर उधर नहीं गिर के नीचे गिर जाता क्या स्प्लिट्स में भी होता है रे कभी-कभी जो हेवन से मार ए पे भी रे ए पे ऊपर से खुद पे एक बार ए पे ए हेवन से होता रोल लेता तू ए हेवन से ऊपर से पूरा ऊपर से खुद गिरता डैमेज
It was them to send Fnatic through that lower bracket. Stage 1 of last year. Well, revenge can taste sweet. And Fnatic just 1 round away.
B पे तो rope पे से खुद तो छुट जाते.
Might be a short trip.
CDM के ऊपर खुद तो हो गया. CDM इधर खींचे तो.
Single match and they'd be right back into that grand final. But we know about the lengths you have to go through in those best of 5s.
अब इसमें breach का उल्टा है ना.
They'll be thrown into it. Well, we already saw this back at kickoff. Heretics thrown to the lower bracket, thrown to the wolves that were Team Liquid in form, and they did not come out of that lower bracket. Well, in one sense they did. Miniboo trying to get aggressive, trying to put some of that flair into play, but he's not found anything from it. Still sticks around.
Pit securing B, it's allowing them to rotate more heavily, and that's been sensed by Fnatic. Turret broken from down below. Nano active, just so Benji could clear below, but he's worried about someone being in tube, and he should be. He spotted the shoulder, spotted the elbow, and takes Alphier down, ready for the rest, but Kayak bests him, and now the B site seems open, but they're not committing just to it. They've heard the steps up close. They know that there's players just outside, and use the slow to get themselves into position. The plant with 12 seconds left. The snake bite to delay to give that bit more space, but they need to find some solid ground to fight from. Towards Snowman is where they're looking, but there's plenty of players waiting. In goes the Armageddon. It's caught one. Rienz is down. Forced into the open. And now the round seems to be in Fnatic's favor. A lot of ground to cover by Miniboo, by Boo. The people know where he's coming from. Elf right away. Grand finals bound over Fnatic. The first team to grace that upper spot. And they do it. Pass the test of Team Heretics with flying colors.
Yeah, in this case, lightning does not strike twice. Switch up
guys.
The pool, switch up the picks, and they have come out on top. But let's be real, we are definitely looking at this matchup between these two as a potential grand final. I don't think this is going to stop the beating heart of the Heretics squad. But for Fnatic, they have found form. At the moment they need it most. That is the thing with this squad. We talk about their group stage form versus that final form. Don't get me wrong, they were still decent in the group stage, but when they faced off against this squad, let's be honest, they got bodied. Now they come in, upper bracket, a chance to make it to the final, a chance to fight for the beautiful trophy we saw earlier. And that's where these players start to make the difference. And I think highlights already being made in terms of players. Alphier today was incredible. The crashes on this map, I would hate playing against this utility. It would make me so angry.
We talked about how valuable Crashy's utility was on map number 1, but his performance individually hit another level here. Those ults were connecting, those salvos were terrifying. Alpha and Kayak showing a wonderful form, and for